call this meeting of the Brown County Commission to order. We'll rise and say a pledge. Commissioner Hanson, would you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. First on the agenda, we have set hearing date and authorized advertising for a couple ordinances. We've got ordinance 16-08-01 458 Jones rezone, and also ordinance 16-08-03 459 is it Goldad?
Goldade.
Yeah, Goldade rezone. You guys have those in front of you?
Yeah. I'll move them.
Second. Motion by Sutton, seconded by Fishback. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Do you want to give them back to me?
Sure.
Or keep them?
We'll give them to you. Thanks. Yeah. Okay, we've got a few minutes then. Should we go ahead and hit your list, Maxine?
Minutes from the joint city county and general meeting of July 26.
Moved by Feldheim, seconded by Hanson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claims?
Move. Second.
Fishback, seconded by Sutton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
The personal miles driven in county vehicles.
Okay, motion by Feldheim,
Second.
seconded by Sutton. Any comments or questions on those? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion
So are we
carries.
done with this vacation of that right away for what we did with the city? You just had to have one hearing on that?
What's the name of it?
To vacate the right of way on out by the beef plant?
Cutler Road. Oh, by the beach.
We just had to do one, we didn't have to hold. We set the hearing. And
We're done with
published
the
this.
Cutler one.
Yeah, but we still have to have the second reading and final adoption
Do
of
we
that
have
one, I
this?
think.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Didn't we
You
just-
might have 2 copies of that because I didn't get the copies back the first when we authorized the advertising on it.
So is the second date set? Is that coming up?
August 23rd is the,
It says set hearing July 26th and published August 3rd and 10th. That's why I was wondering if we had to have another hearing on it.
Well, you might have had 2 copies of the one you just handed me. Okay, this is 459 and 458.
56.
Well, see, we did that. We set the hearing on this one last week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it just says published, you don't say when we have to have a hearing.
August 23rd is the hearing.
All right, all right.
Yeah,
23rd?
we've got a lot of them on the 23rd. If you want to give me those, Tom, and then I'll just put them in order for the 23rd. I think I have everyone else's on these too.
you probably don't have mine, that's my J,
Okay.
the one for that J Street D plant.
Okay.
Keep this
Yeah,
organized
that's
on
the
that.
Okay. There's a fair contract that needs action, and I didn't write down what it was.
The Piles of Smiles Entertainment. They're going to provide face painting for 5 hours a day for 4 days.
Move it.
Motion by Feldheim,
Second.
seconded by Hanson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Disinterment permit.
Move.
Second.
Motion by Feldheim, seconded by Fishback. Any questions on that permit? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
There's an abatement.
Move it.
Motion by Sutton,
Second.
seconded by Hanson. Any questions on the abatement? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. That brings us up to 8:50. We've got Judy Dosh with maintenance and Dean Marski here to discuss change order number 3. Good morning, guys. She's right there. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys this morning?
Good.
Good.
Next, you have a change order?
It's in the package.
Oh, is it in the packet? Okay.
Well, unrelated to that, we're updating, the lettering was wrong on the wrong side. On the outside, the handrails they're going to be powder coated because the manufacturing wasn't done very well. If anybody looked at them very close, it was pretty poor. So we rejected those. The company's taking them off and finishing them, so that will be done. We have to adjust some of the window sills. One of them comes too close to the handrail, so we'll take that one off and either cut it or put a new one back on. We've got to do the grind the edgings. So those are just things that are to finish it up, just kind of the punch list items. Which brings us to the change order, which is at bottom. I don't know if there's for the bottom of the ramp. Does everybody know what we're talking about? You can see it out there now. It was done, and it was how the concrete came up underneath there, how far the brick went down, and that's what it involved. We did not have anything put in there for that. What it needs to be done is filled in and then an edging put on there. That's what amounts to the base. The brick was on the upper part was taken care of in an earlier change order, so that's kind of what we're talking about. I guess I'd ask any questions on that. It's not something we figured in there. It was unsure because it was covered underneath that concrete. We probably should have put an allowance in there or allowed for something, but we didn't on that on our part. So,
In my opinion, it's a $212,000 job, and in the grand scheme of things, that should just be done to make the job look complete. I think that just goes without saying.
Yeah.
Whether it was figured in or not, it's so minimal,
Yeah.
and I would just think the contractor would want to come in and do what's right and make it look right. Take some pride in his workmanship.
correct, because that it's different than to me it was different than the block up at top, which was damaged, and we
Right.
had to do that.
Yep.
I agree with that. It's not the world we're living in anymore. We had yesterday had another project where they had how we had the toilet was on a project. It was on the other side of the building, and we said they could use that. Well, it's too far away from the project, so now the owner has to provide a exterior toilet, because it just nobody does anything more than exactly down in the contract. Some contractors are easier than others. I mean, I think that over in we haven't had near which is a lot more difficult project, is remodeling the jail, and we don't have those issues. It works pretty well. We've had some issues. I mean, if on the flooring was the wrong one, the wrong color came in. They're redoing it. I mean, we didn't have really any hassle with that or too much, and this was certainly a lot bigger issue than this. But
Did you anticipate it taking this long?
no, and
Is there any
it's like
special reason for that it did take this long?
it's kind of like everything they use. I know it was a tight schedule before, and then we kind of opened the door when we had to adjust. We tried to get it done beforehand. We made the changes with the ramp, for instance, in the door, which I thought was a good option. But that opens the door for the schedule's shot then, and it happens to us. Excuse me. That's what we're dealing with in every project. We fight to keep projects on schedule. We fight to keep change orders to a minimum, because if it is, and nobody calls, if anybody's been in the contracting business, it used to be they'd call and ask questions. We get no calls, because everybody's figuring if they call and ask, there might be something that they can get in the day after the bid, we get a list of all the things that they need to know, and all of them are ads. There's never a deduct, so it's really tough bidding climate. I mean, it's just people are. So, as far as the schedule goes, it wasn't one that we didn't put liquidated damages in there because we were limited on it wasn't a big enough project. If we would have liquidated damages and put, we'd like to have $500 a day all of a sudden now we added $10,000 to the project, and, you know, because they anticipated it. So,
Yeah, we never had a deadline on it, did we, or did we?
well, we had the deadline
Yeah, we
down
did.
because
They didn't make it.
the first one, they got started early, but then we made
There
a
was no
change.
damages for the not making the deadline?
No. We talked about it on this when we had for the other jail, but you know, it's just it has to be a large enough, and we had some restrictions as far as it had to be done before that June date, and then after that, and certainly Judy and her people pushed us. And then when you when you have weeks where they don't show up and don't do anything,
Yeah.
it's hard to
They work Tuesdays, the jackhammer.
yeah.
So did it not affect the grant money at all, Max? We get all that, did we get it
Yeah.
yet, or?
Not yet, but it's checks in the
We're
mail.
going to
Yeah.
get checks in the mail,
Checks in.
okay.
But you had to get an extension, didn't you?
The state did.
Any other questions?
Well, the estimate's $987 or something.
Yeah.
That's less than 0.5% of the job. I have a hard time standing that people won't come in and finish it for less than 0.5% of that bid. I mean, that's like Dwayne said. I mean, it should be the pride of the workmanship for less than 0.5% of the bid. I mean, to me, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Wishes of the commission.
Tried that last week.
Well, I think we've, lack of a motion, I think the commission kind of has a feeling that we're going to just roll with it the way it is, and unless somebody's wanting to make a motion on that. Okay. We are not making a motion on it, we're just going to go. This will die for lack of support.
With that, I was anticipating that, so. What will probably happen is Todd Geisler and I will come over, and we talked about already, doing a trim piece. It's not going to take that much, and I mean, I have to go with what they propose. You rejected it, and I kind of agree with you. It's a joke. I mean, I can't help it. I mean, I can't. So we're gonna Todd and I will fix it. You know.
Thank you.
I mean, we have the pride in it. I don't want it to look like that, but you know, I wanted to have you have the option. You know, so that's where we're going. So I agree with Doug and everybody, and same thing with Tom, Dwayne, and so we're doing. You know, we got to have some pride, but it's like, really, you know, you can't force them when they do this. So that's where we're at.
Pride in workmanship goes a long ways in future bidding, too.
Right, and it's like, and I can't, you know, he's got a point. I mean, we didn't put it in there, but I mean, you know, so he didn't think of anything, and that's just another kind of gouge thing. So, thank you.
Well, I appreciate the time. Thank you
Yeah.
for coming in and
Thank you.
breaking
Thank
it
you.
down for us, and we'll catch you down the road.
Yeah.
All right, we are up to our 8:55. Mike Scott, landfill supervisor. Let's talk about wood waste grinding quote, waive the fees for free residential landfill cleanup, and update, and let's talk budget. What do you got for us?
Well, you got a lot of stuff.
Oh, I'll just give you a few things here. We'll hand out quick. Get started. One here. All in 5 minutes. I'll hurry.
And the 5 minutes are over.
Yeah, it's already done.
Thank you.
I guess we'll just start with the residential cleanup. I guess we've got fall right around the corner. Unfortunately, summer's almost done, but just similar to past years, we'll just need fees waived for the pre-fall residential cleanup, August 26th through September 10th. This will be at the landfill only. This time there's no drop-off sites in town.
Do you ever have people get confused and just leave them at the regular sites? Or is that...
Not too often,
Okay.
not really. No, they pretty well got the hang of it now after,
How many
you know,
years
20
we've been
years.
doing this, yeah.
So,
All right.
just briefly on the spring residential cleanup numbers, we had about just under 4,000 vehicles that came through the landfill. during that cleanup period. So very well attended, very...
You have a waiting line, or do they keep going through?
Nope, we kept them moving through. So estimated number of tons about 650 during that cleanup period. So
how much would that have cost if people would have to pay?
well, you got tires in there, you got electronics. You know, it's a lot of different items that you need to break down. But I mean, even if you average $40 a ton, you know, you're looking at what, $25,000 minimum.
But it's good for the county.
So
It
A
is.
lot less
Keeps it
behind
cleaner.
in the ditch.
I like it, yeah.
So
A lot of people wouldn't pick it up.
definitely
Yeah.
a good program
It is.
that we've been doing for quite some time. So
Okay, we'd entertain a motion to go ahead and waive those tipping fees.
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, seconded by Feldheim. Any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
number 2, just wood waste grinding. That's an annual event for us. We don't have really a second quote or a second bid for wood waste grinding. Dakota Wood Grinding is really the only one with that size machine that can do that type of work. His quote is $550 an hour. It was the same as last year. So I guess I would just recommend that we go with Dakota Wood Grinding to not exceed the $25,000 bid limit, but we should be able to get everything ground up for that price.
And what a run this year was it under 25,000?
Last year we had a lot of other wood waste to grind, and we also did screening last year. We screened all our compost. So last year I can't even remember, I think it was probably over $60,000 we spent on wood waste grinding and compost screening. We hadn't screened any compost for probably 10 years. So, but we got caught up last year with our grinding and screening, so this year we should be able to stay under that 25,000.
We'd entertain a motion to accept that quote. Moved by Feldheim,
Second.
seconded by Fishback. Any questions on that? Seeing none, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Well, we just will jump into the 2017 budget, I guess. There's, I don't know if you get your books or your sheets in front of you, or if you need them. I guess there's really not a whole lot of change. I don't have anything major. There's no construction projects this year. I don't foresee any major construction projects until probably 4 years down the road for a new cell, 4 to 5 years. So we're that $1 million or $1.5 million price tag will be in the future. The only thing we've got coming up next year would probably be some equipment purchases. We'll just have to see. I'm looking at maybe a payloader, a few other.
Site relocation would be...
Well, we're always working on the fire station site
Yeah, we're
relocation.
always-
I was in touch with
years
them.
on that one.
I was in touch with them yesterday.
Any prospects, anything else close by? Or?
I really don't.
No fish bank laying
So-
down there?
I'm not drunk on mice. I don't have anything close enough.
So that's still a work in progress, and once, if that would come to pass, that would be a fairly major expense to relocate that site with fence, with dirt work, with asphalt, with lighting. So we'll have to see. I was in touch with them yesterday again on that process, because that was part of this year's budget also, was to get that site relocated. So always a process. And like I said, payloader, we'll just have to see what happens next year. That was also in this year's budget, but our payloader, still, I think we had about 13,000 hours on that machine. So but it's used in the waste all the time. Lots of wear and tear. So it's time to let it go. The thing is, it's got some solid rubber tires on it. I'd like to wear out first before we get rid of it, but because that's about a $20,000 price tag just for those tires. So that we're just our county route system right now. We're using a 1-ton pickup to pull a trailer and a grapple. I'd really like to condense that, put that all into one self-contained unit, so we're not pulling a trailer and a truck and So I'll be looking at that to see if we can get something that somebody doesn't need a CDL to drive that. And it will all be contained. I'm sure you've seen the city truck where they pick up trees. The grapple sits just behind the cab. They can just drive up, pick it up, and move on. So we use that twice a week, and it's just saved a ton of work for these guys to pick that stuff up. So possible semi-truck purchase. We'll have to see. Our wastewater pond is not 3/4 full, but that's always a possibility where we're going to have to haul wastewater to the wastewater treatment plant. And if that would happen, we'd have to have the equipment to do it. But
You'd have to pay them too?
then we'd have to probably pay a
That sounds
a
like
fee.
that could
So
be expensive.
right now we're doing the recirculation, evaporation. We're doing everything we can to keep that water on site. But there could come a day where we do need to haul, so we can't bring that pond right up to the top. We've got to have about a foot of buffer there so we don't let it lap over. So something that's always in the back of our mind that we're going to have to. And we do have a truck and a trailer, but it's older. I mean, you start putting that many miles on that equipment, it's going to need to be updated and upgraded. So
But you don't have that semi-truck in on your budget, do you?
no.
That's something you're thinking in the
Just
future.
we're thinking of,
Yeah.
maybe the payloader drops out and we buy the truck. We'll just have to see what happens.
The wastewater, is that contaminated at that point, or does it have to go to the treatment plant, or what are the qualifications, or what?
It's not contaminated, but it's wastewater. We can't. At one time, we had a one-time permit. Basically, we could land apply that water, but that was a one-time deal, and they will not let us do that again because we've got 35 acres there that we did apply that to. But right now, that water has to stay in that pond or go to the wastewater treatment plant.
It's the only options.
That's our only option. We are looking at possibly a discharge to our stormwater pond, but that's only in case of an emergency, because that pond will hold
Boy, hauling water.
hauling water 5,000 gallons at a time.
Takes a long time to get that.
Yep. That pond holds 11 million gallons of water.
Holy smoke, that'd be expensive to start hauling that.
The one winter we did haul water to the wastewater treatment plant. I think we hauled 1 million gallons.
Don't even dab
It took forever. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it took us 6 months to haul, that kind of volume. So any other alternative, we're looking for it.
What was the reason they offered you a one-time only?
That was
permit?
soon after we opened that cell,
Okay.
and we really didn't have any. The water was in the leachate pond, but it was mostly just runoff.
Okay.
There was really, it really wouldn't be classified as wastewater because it came out of the cell into the pond, but it was mostly rainwater. We had to test it, and so they let us land apply it. So things have changed since then.
Okay.
So
Gotcha. Any questions on budget request information? We did have some conversation 2 weeks ago on budget, the 1.4 that we borrowed.
Yep.
We are planning to continually return back to that same fund, so
Okay.
we'll see where we're at as we kind of wrap up budgeting here, whether we can put in 100,000, 300,000, whatever we can do slowly. So
that's appreciated. Like I said, we'll have the construction here in the next 4 years, 5 years, so something to anticipate. The 2015 revenue, if you notice, was right at 2.2 million. I included the sheet of paper there to reference that is in your handout, how that was. About 1.6 million of that came from tipping fees. About 500,000 came from the rural container site assessment. And then the rest was interest penalties. So any questions on revenue? Still seem to be holding their own. I don't foresee us increasing tipping fees at all. That's going to be a constant for next year. They'll stay the same.
sounds good. Any Any other
Any
questions?
other questions? Comments?
Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Just keep
What is the tipping fee right now?
$38 a ton.
We haven't raised that for a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
I'd have to look back, but it's,
it's been quite a time.
yeah, I don't even know. Time goes by so fast. I'm sure it's more than 5 years,
Yeah, I think
I would think.
And what is the fee to the landowners per building site?
65,
Six-
77.
77, is that what that's at
Yeah.
now?
And for the rural.
Yeah, that's what I meant, the rural.
Yeah.
That started out at $60, I
Yep.
don't know how many years ago,
Yep.
so that hasn't gone
Hasn't
up
gone up much.
a terrible amount.
So it's covering that hauling cost plus some of the tipping fee that we would have gotten for that material.
Sure.
So, all right.
Sounds
All right.
good. Well, thanks for your
Yep.
time.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
We'll see you at the fair.
You bet, we'll be there.
We'll be out.
All right, we'll see ya.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, 9 o'clock, we've got Derek Ritchie, Fair Manager, standby ambulance contract. Derek, are you with us?
He's here. Battle of the Pointless.
No, you first.
No, you first.
Good morning, how are ya?
Good, good.
Good. Let's talk ambulances.
All right, let's talk ambulances. Well, we're gonna, through working through this process over the past couple of weeks, and new information has come to light over a decision that was made based on the bid process and the purchasing policy. But there's some extenuating
Are you
circumstances.
supposed to have backups again?
Yep, these are all packets.
Oh,
Yep.
I wasn't paying any attention.
me neither.
Oh, you got
And
it?
I apologize for killing trees, but I want to make sure that we all have the information that we
Everyone
need.
has one?
So this kind of basically just walks us through the process. The top page, we'll flip that over. That's what I'm going to ask you to act on in a moment here. The first page, the second page is going to be the letter that awarded the bid to the Aberdeen Ambulance Service. The third page is going to be the initial set of quotes, the third, the fourth, and then the back pages, the fifth and sixth, are going to be what we've done historically in 2015. There was some new information that came to light, and the main reason is going to be the emergency 911 dispatching service. Aberdeen Ambulance is currently not connected into the emergency 911 service, which is going to create a potential challenge for dispatching through 911. So what I would ask is that, in light of the new information that we have, there's some extenuating circumstances outside of price. I would ask that we rescind the accepted quote from Aberdeen Ambulance and accept the quote from the Aberdeen Fire Group.
And it's $800 more? Is that
It's
what-
about 800, yeah, I can look at the exact number. It's a little less, it's probably 785, give or take.
And through your conversations, what would it take to get Aberdeen Ambulance dispatchable?
It would basically be almost the cost of the 800 to basically have them pay to do that, which would then in turn up the bid, because that was not something that was disclosed during the bid process. So they would have to go back and rebid their quote. In light of the new information, though, I think that with the current contract under the county, and I would say we've probably exhausted in excess of the $800 just in labor costs between the individual department employee heads and folks, kind of discussing it. So I do make decisions, but then I also reserve the right to maybe change them if new information comes to light. So, and it appears that, and I was not aware of the 911 situation, so, of the dispatch situation, so I have to take some responsibility for not being aware of that.
I would make a motion to rescind the previous agreement with Aberdeen Ambulance and accept the proposal by Aberdeen Fire and Rescue.
Second?
Okay, we've got a motion by Sutton, seconded by Fishback. Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, use yours.
I have an extra one for you
You've
too.
got an extra one for Rachel to sign? Okay, I'll take it and then put it in your box. Yeah.
I will inform Aberdeen Ambulance of the change.
Thank you.
Good,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, we have got Sean Johnson and Davin Johnson with the VFW to talk about fair whiskey sales just during rodeo.
Yep, and I apologize that Sean Johnson is not here yet. Previous.
No worries. Who do you have with you?
I've got Dennis Nelson. He's
Hi,
with
Dennis.
the VFW also. So.
Thanks for joining us. How are you guys today?
Good.
All right. What do we got going on?
Well, we propose that we're looking for a permit for whiskey sales under the grandstand. It'd be the same proposal that came before you back in June. It's going to be Pendleton whiskey only. It's going to be basically run by Pendleton. They're going to come out. It's going to be the same terms. They're going to have the 2 drink limit, and we've got a sales tax ID number. I know that this paper that I handed out, I know that it was unclear on the legal description that was turned in for the application. I wanted to make that clear. It's going to be in the grandstands. Pictures right there. I mean, we can get that exactly. I just wanted to make that clear. There was no intent to go any place else on the fairgrounds. We do have a sales tax ID that we can get from the state. It's already been pre-approved by the state, so there would be no issue with a sales tax ID. Ours is dormant because we don't have a building or we're not selling alcohol with the VFW anymore. So we've actually already had a sales tax ID issued to us last weekend for a whiskey event out at the Expo building. There was already that. You guys already approved that event out at the fairgrounds. We've got the insurance. The insurance was covered out there. We'll have insurance the same as that underneath the grandstand.
Underneath the grandstand, or are you talking to the east of it?
I believe it's to the east. To the east. I'm sorry, to the east. Yep.
Just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yep, right on this, right in the boxed area there. On the. Yep, I apologize for that.
On a side note, how many did you get to attend that reunion last weekend?
There was about, Dennis was
We had
there.
right at 200.
Oh, wow.
Good for you.
We had 125 reservists, and then the rest were spouses and or children.
Very cool.
Extremely, the laughs and the giggles and the tears from laughter tell the story.
Oh, very neat that you guys got that organized.
Yes.
Any questions from commissioners on this? Derek, is Fair Board still in support of this?
They are still in support. It's basically just we ran into the legal requirement on our end as far as why we couldn't do it. So when the VFW had come to us and asked us about the proposal, we saw it as a potential opportunity.
And I talked to Davin extensively last night, and we agreed to disagree. The fair is a family fair. I don't want it to be known as a drinking fair. And I suggested to him, if it's going to be part of the rodeo, maybe we need to separate that rodeo from the week of the fair. And if you want to have the booze party, whatever, with it, then make it sometime other than the county fair. But I can't support liquor on the county family fairs.
I would have one objection to that, or I was actually a Fair Board member, and we talked about
and
that
I was
previously.
Too.
Yep. And back in August 14th of 2014, there was a Boots and Bourbon liquor event that was approved by the commission, which was underneath the Kessler's tent. It was a Spurs fundraiser right before the concerts on Thursday night. And so the security for that, obviously you get 100, 200 people underneath the Kessler's tent for a Boots and Bourbon whiskey event that for $50 all the whiskey you can drink, and then go over to the grandstands. I don't know how that was approved, or if this. I mean, and I'm not. I don't want to. I just want to make a couple different points of. There has been whiskey events in the past out at the fairgrounds, and I don't know if this is a very minimal 2-drink limit whiskey. It's only going to be the Pendleton whiskey. It's not going to be a full bar like that Boots and Bourbon was. Actually, it wasn't even it was. I was actually there. They had extensive different amounts of alcohol there. No control over how much you drink. I mean, we're actually controlling it. The percent of alcohol that's actually going to be served with the mixed drink of Pendleton would be very similar to that of the beers that are being sold out there with the malt beverages. You can buy 10 malt beverage beers underneath the grandstand. One person could go buy 20 if they wanted. I mean, alcohol is alcohol. So I guess with that, you know, I saw a need. I was an old Fair Board member. I saw a need for this. Couldn't have been a more perfect collaboration with Derek and the Fair Board. We want to give some of that money back. We're not going to take all the profit from this. We want to help. We want to help with improvement of the grandstands. The VFW does. We want to help with improvement of the bathrooms. Anything that Derek sees that needs to be improved out there, we want to give this money back, a good portion of it. And so, for a one-time event, I think it would be worth the trial run to see how it goes, to give that money back, to be able to utilize. You know, you're always saying, hey, we need to improve the grandstands, we need to improve the bathrooms, we need to improve the buildings. I think this would be a perfect opportunity for the commission for us to help make that happen.
You know, I asked for a list of the expenses, because the expenses when Derek presented it the first time, it was expenses, lump sum, income, suggested. So I said, I want to know what all you're including, so if you are including the extra cost of security, if you're including what, and I never received that. So I can't honestly say that you're going to have a lot of money. Another way of getting money to fix things up there is cutting unnecessary expenses or reducing some of the costs.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not on the Fair Board anymore, and that's their deal to figure out where the money goes and that type of stuff. And I don't know what it's going to cost for security. You know, it's a one-time event. How do you get 3 officers out there to cover the extra 2 drinks on a whiskey? I mean, even at that, you get 3 officers out there for what is the fair or the rodeo, 3 hours times. You're talking less than $1,000. I mean, it's not going to be much for extra security if they need to, but I don't even think there would be a need personally. But I mean, that's for I guess Derek to decide or the sheriff to decide how many people they think they would need out at the event. I don't think they're going to really need to increase security, because alcohol is alcohol. You can drink as much as you want. You can drink as much beer as you want. People aren't going to, I guess, get any more out of control with a couple whiskey drinks opposed to beer drinks. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I just think this is a great opportunity to try one time. Give it a try. I mean, let's put some money back. Let's improve it. Even if you make $2,000 on the deal, which I'm hoping you guys get more of that back. I mean,
Chief Deputy Schmidt, appreciate you coming in this morning. Did you have thoughts you wanted to share with us?
I'd probably still have the same objections. It's yet another site for alcohol sales, whether it be beer or whiskey. I'd have the same concerns, because we are having a tough time filling our shifts. Even with the $2 raise that you guys authorized, we're now to the point where we're filling the open slots with our correctional officers and other county staff under the sheriff. And so the security slots, I would not be surprised that we have some that are unfilled. And to add yet another site for alcohol sales, even if it's 1 night or 2 nights, like I say, I'd have the same objection if it was beer or whiskey, because now it's yet another site that we have to make time to be around, and we're just not going to have the staff. So,
now you had mentioned that Pendleton is going to be providing some of the security and some of the folks that are doing the work. Would your group be willing to? I know they're not certified law enforcement, but former military, would you be willing to offer other people to kind of oversee things if you're taking a portion of?
I think absolutely it would be our responsibility as, I guess, the VFW and, for the event. I don't see why we couldn't offer a few volunteers to help out with, to stand out there to make sure people aren't getting too out of control. If that's the concern from the sheriff's office, I mean, we'd most definitely try to make everything work. I think that would be fair.
and I think it gets back to the control. Where you're saying it's a 2-drink minimum, which I think is all ludicrous, because if I buy 2 tickets and I have my 2 drinks, I'm just going to go back and buy 2 more tickets. They're not going to say, well, I'm sorry, you had yours, you have to leave. So if you have somebody that's drinking whiskey there for 4 hours, I just question how they're going to say how they're going to control it to a 2-drink minimum. I mean, don't even advertise that because it's not enforceable. So basically it's going to be another site for alcohol, drinking whiskey, and really, not that they're all going to become raging psychopaths, but it's just the fact that don't confuse the issue with if I'm going to have 2 drinks and they went down pretty easy, I'm going to just go get 2 more tickets. So that should even just be taken off the table because there really is no control on that.
Is there any other questions from commissioners? Concerns, comments?
I don't have any questions, but my position hasn't changed since we dealt with this a couple weeks ago. It still remains the largest single issue that I've been approached as a commissioner on, that people seem to be against additional alcohol sales at the fair because it is a family event and they want to continue it to have that image. And I'm certainly, like I said before, I'm certainly not against whiskey. I'm a whiskey drinker. And it's certainly no reflection on the VFW as an organization, so it has nothing to do with who the sponsoring entity is. But I just feel that since we're about 2 weeks away from the beginning of the fair, we need to think this thing through for the next year and maybe answer some questions that people have and address some concerns that people have, ensure them and assure them that maybe it isn't as big a deal as some people think it is. But for this year, even after we made the decision a few weeks ago to not do anything, I've continued to be approached by people who just don't want additional alcohol.
We just got an email now from someone saying don't have liquor at Brown County Fair. See, they're saying the fair, and that's where my problem is.
Sure. And I guess it's, the only, it's hard for me to listen to and hear those concerns when in 2014 there was the Boots and Bourbon event. There was whiskey.
And I think we learned from that.
Yes.
I think the Fair Board learned that it was considerably more work than what it was worth. All the work got transferred to the Fair Board in tearing that down, cleaning up the after effects, getting it ready for the next.
I remember specifically that year, and there wasn't any more concern for the Fair Board than there was the year before, the year after with the cleanup.
As a liaison to the Fair Board, that's specifically what I was told. It added considerably to the workload of the Fair Board. So I'm just going by what I was told at the time. They had to tear down the security, get the tent ready for the next event, and so that was kind of the logic behind not approving it the following year. So, again, I'm just going by what I was told.
Sure, no, that's
They were talking about all the horse poo they had to clean up. That was the big.
I was gonna say it's always interesting when you're there and doing the work opposed to after the fact. So
sure. Other questions or comments? All right. Any motions? I don't think we're having the support here. So, but I do want to reach out to you guys and appreciate you coming in and bringing up the conversation. And Derek, to you and your board, I know there's been comments in the past. Some of them say, we have ideas too, and we're not just here to scoop up the poop at the fair. And I want you to extend our thoughts to them that just because we don't support this particular idea, we sure don't want to stifle when they have new ideas and things coming forward. So that's not the message we're trying to send. We do appreciate everything that they do, and I hope you can reiterate that thought to them.
I will. I would also like to reiterate that we're standing on the family event side, and there's quite a significant amount of alcohol that comes in to the grandstands, both during the rodeo and also during the concert. So I would anticipate that we would crack down on that from a law enforcement standpoint too, if we're going to stand on the family fair aspect of it.
And I compliment the VFW for trying to help us out with the fair, but we also talked about different ways that maybe you could help with at the fair, or even moving that rodeo out and making that like a week before, a week after, do something else with it. It's something you might want to look at, a whole different venue, and filling those couple days in with something else if you want. I don't think it's wrong for the rodeo, I just think it's the wrong timing being as part of the fair.
I think we just educate people over the next year as to it is restricted and it is only the rodeo and it's not part of the fair. I think if we go through the education process so people maybe more fully understand that it is really a restricted situation, they may have a better feel for allowing it. People are just thinking it's going to be a free-for-all. That's their opinion and what they're thinking.
Any other questions or comments? All right, well, thanks so much for coming in, you guys. Appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules.
Thank you, gentlemen.
450 Seconds says thank you. Thank you for a successful weekend.
We owe them thanks.
Thank you to them for their service.
All right, next on the agenda, we've got Dirk Rogers with Highway right away for Webb Water. Dirk, are you with us?
I'm abstaining.
I'll call it. I can't remember what it was.
Good morning, how are you?
Good. I don't have a heck of a lot today, unless you guys know something I don't, but...
So they're asking when it's going to start and when it's going to end on 16.
Well, the completion date's December 1st, and the pre-con's going to be about the third week in August, I think it is.
Which year?
This year. Shortly after we talked to them after the bid opening, they kind of indicated that they weren't coming in right away, so I don't have any worries about them being able to get it done, so.
River can rise and we'll be.
I was told last week that they do have their performance bond and will be sending that, and as soon as that comes to me, that'll be on the agenda for, it's notice to proceed Brown County project, but it wasn't typed on the agenda that it was mailed to us today, meaning Friday. If not here Tuesday, we'll need to wait. So we can't do that.
Okay. They got a Webb Water hookup. It's for that. It's across the street from where Clark Thayers was putting in his house for the Hoffmans. You know that this is a youth camp over here. And then this was that road we were talking about with the dirt. Well, this is on the other side of that little draw in there. There's just a water service. The water line's on the east side, and they just got to bore under the road for the new place that's in there.
No problem, man.
Nope. It's all Florida hell down in there.
Second.
Moved by Fishback, seconded by Feldheim. Comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
I abstain.
Did you get a storm in Groton last night?
Yeah, I didn't know until I went outside and all the trees were laying all over the place. So.
You must have been pretty tired.
You must sleep better than me.
Yeah, I'm serious. I pulled out there, and I mean, like, you had to drive around them in the streets and whatnot.
Would you see hail damage in the fields?
I didn't around there. It sounds like over closer to Andover, a little bit east of us was worse, but I didn't really see anything in the, this morning.
Well, Scott went over. He's going to report back. So.
But yeah, there was there, and I believe Elm Lake keeps getting pounded. We keep going up there now that they don't have as many row crops up there, but trees and stuff around the lake and whatnot. But yeah, I slept through the whole thing. But the Groton City boys are going to be busy picking up trees today, though. I think looked like quite a few. Huh? Yeah, and some kind of. I got some old, nasty, big trees in my yard. I'm always surprised every day I come out and they're not laying on top of like the county pickup.
They're talking 80-mile-an-hour winds, I heard them say.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it is. I think they said they blew some train cars over in Andover.
Andover and Bristol.
Yeah.
Takes a strong wind to go over a train car.
I would think so,
I would think so, too. Maybe if they're empty.
Gusts of up to 80 miles an hour recorded by the National Weather Service. I was in the office until 12:15 last night. Oh. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. I tuned it in right before I fell asleep.
For my entire report from 7:30 to 12:15.
I felt very secure.
It was 2.5 hours into sleep.
Yeah. But other things, they're working on that. I went up to the Hecla Bridge. I'll email you guys a picture, but
Rachel just sent us some.
The west end looks like the grade's done. They're still working on the east end. They got to put on the guardrail yet.
They're ahead of schedule, aren't they?
Well, I got to look at that. I think they were supposed to be substantially complete on the 31st of July. I thought it was, which they were, but they're not completely done.
Tired of it.
I don't think we'll get the ends paved this year. It'll probably be gravel till next spring.
It'd be nice to have it settle a while anyway before you put that on.
And it'll generate a few calls, and we'll put up loose gravel signs. Same thing that happened on that Frederick Bridge. But
let's just go ahead and put them up then before you get the call.
I think I will.
There you go.
So, Other than that, we kind of wrapped up our chip sealing. As far as the major pieces, there's a little bit up north and east of Columbia that we'll probably seal, but for the main runs, we've got that done. I'm going to the striping pre-con tomorrow, so that stuff, it'll probably be a while till it actually gets striped. You know,
Yeah, they always stripe during
They like
harvest.
to wait till harvest is going good.
Sometimes they drive over their wet paint.
Get nice little white marks. You can see where they're pulling off on the field approaches that way.
Better to do it in December.
Oh, yeah. But no, other than that, I think everything's been going okay. Kind of most everything I wanted to get done, we're getting done. I'm worried that, like I keep bringing up, that area north and east of Columbia on those 30 miles in there, there's some significant challenges there, and I'll have to see what. I'm afraid some of the quick, easy stuff isn't going to work. That's what I'm worried about, and I don't want to have to pave all of that, but we'll see what happens. We've got to mill a little bit of it up and try to blotter some of it, leave a little bit of it gravel, and pave some of it. We'll just kind of have to see. So.
Do we still have our single employee doing the potholes? I had a call from somebody on 14 asking about it.
Yeah, occasionally he does.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Still effective to you?
I think it's effective. The problem is there's not a thing that you can replace that. Now, I'll admit, at first appearance, I understand why people call, and they call me about it too.
I think it works good.
But the thing is that he's getting right now are these small ones that will turn into bigger ones that will require you to take the whole patch crew out. And I'm not discounting your concerns about that, Rachel, because we've obviously talked about it several times, and I understand that. But there's a thing there that he's filling a need. And I guarantee you, if I put a guy on there, I have another guy that's hyper that can't sit still. If I put him on there, he would have the exact same amount of production, but it would eliminate your calls because of how he moves around all the time. Well, I mean, I'm almost certain. And the other thing is, and I'm not trying to make excuses, the capacity of that patch thing, you fill it up, and it's about a day load regardless of who's doing it. If you put two guys on it, you don't get twice as much done. It's just one of those things.
Okay.
Still the same distance between potholes.
Right. And I saw him. I saw him yesterday, and I came over the hill, and I'm like, good God, it looks like we got a dead guy working for us. but I mean, then I went back through there later, and here go up 14. I mean, the black stuff on the shoulder. He's going to hold that shoulder together till next year when we get up there to pave it. You know, so that's sort of it's not something where we like, all right, we're going to send him out and then we're done with that for 10 years. I mean, it's just something to get us by. Sure. But I do want you to know I recognize why that
and I ask because attention. I like to be able to explain to people when they ask.
Sure.
But I see where he's been, and I think it works.
The thing is, when load limits are on, and he goes around and gets those before we can put out the big patch crew, that is the biggest thing to keep it from, well, it's not the biggest. A dry year's even bigger than that. But
so what's your answer going to be now? He's not a dead guy?
It's fine.
Anytime you can fill a hole that doesn't hold water.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That water disintegrates.
And I'm not going to gravel. I will not.
No, we tried that.
You will not.
I won't.
That did not work.
No, and if you ever see it, it's because we're going to mill it up. Just trust me. If you ever see us putting gravel on top of a bad stretch of asphalt, it's because we're going to mill it up and we want to add that structure in there. You know, that's about the only time you'll see that anymore.
Does the shale work for packing some of those holes? It sets up a lot harder than gravel, but does it still pound out as bad, the shale, or does it?
You know, if it's such a temperature, moisture thing. The more shale you got in there, it's your band of moisture that works in. You know, it gets too dry and it turns to dust. It gets too wet and it's snotty. So you got this narrow thing that works. That's the only qualifier. Other than that, it'll do okay. All that gravel that got a Ryberg pit and the J pit and all those, and even Hall, some of that has high shale, so it acts a little differently. The thing you notice with that is it gets so snotty when you have that on top and it gets wet, you know.
We've been putting just straight shale as they mill it out of the Hall pit.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like it sets up much harder than the gravel. Once you get the base on and it sets up, it seems like it's like
works
concrete.
pretty good.
Is that about the same price now?
It's a lot more expensive than gravel.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
But it seems to hold up it's a much firmer, it doesn't seem like it's slippery because we're taking just a straight shale and hauling shale and mixing it with our gravel on our roads.
I see.
And that's why I was wondering if that is possible on some of those potholes, if that shale would hold up better than gravel.
I think it would, but if we got a pothole, I really don't want to. If it's a pothole on a gravel road, you blade the crap out of it until you can work it out. And if it's a pothole on an asphalt road.
Well, I guess I wasn't thinking pothole. I was thinking those stretches that are like 10, 15 feet that are beat out.
Yeah.
If a guy would put the shale over those rather, because that gravel seems like after about 3 times it pounds right back after you blade it.
Yeah.
Any
Can't
other,
get it the backhand.
any other questions for Dirk?
Did you get hold of that splashing? The guy was talking about the splashing. Down by, they're hauling.
Oh, yes, I did, and as I suspected, the guy I talked to down there brought up the brains and spinal fluid before I did. He said this person was saying it was brains and spinal fluid, and he says, no, that's A1 takes that in enclosed garbage trucks, and he said they'd be happy to have us come and witness the process if we had any issues with it. The stuff that's in the open trailers is probably rendering or paunch. Not that it's any better, but it's not. It's not. And they had been notified or contacted by other than us by the time I got a hold of them.
Okay. Good.
So I think it was addressed, and it sounds like they talked directly to the person that called too.
I thought you were talking about hospital waste. I thought, boy, brains and spine. I thought, what the heck are you guys doing?
All those transplants.
Yes.
Did you recently enforce the parking on the right of way by the Westport Bar? Have you?
The city of Westport has contacted me, and I looked at the parking ordinance, and that is a situation where you can, they wanted us just to put up signs. The way that I read that, and you could have the lawyers or the police and ask their opinion, but it's basically if it's in a place that's causing obstruction or line of sight issues, which it is if you're coming from the east up to it. So, do you got an opinion on that?
Well, I guess it's been like that for 40 years, and I guess I just thought it was odd that I didn't know about it till this morning.
Always done it that way?
What's his name? Tim?
Sells it.
Yeah, he's the one that came in. And you know more about the internal workings of Westport than I do.
I was just wondering if you'd been contacted.
I've been contacted, and I said I would look into putting signs up there, and without having the state's attorney or the sheriff, interpret that ordinance for me, it seemed to me that it would qualify for being a no parking area. The extreme all the way to the other end, she wanted a crosswalk put in there. And I said, well, I can't put a crosswalk in there because now I'm encouraging people to park over here.
We got too much traffic at the Westport Bar.
Well, they wanted speed. They wanted a speed. We were fine until we fixed the road. When the road was a piece of crap and you couldn't go more than about 20 miles an hour, it wasn't a problem.
That's how you slow people down. You don't fix the roads.
But grind it up.
No, it's nice. It's a nice mile. It's a nice road, but I laugh at that. I didn't get half the phone calls from there or Barnard until we fixed everything. And that's all right. That's all right. That means they're paying attention and they're happy and everything. But so, yeah, I don't know what the answer there is. I don't like it, but I don't know if it's wrong that they're parking over there.
Can't you have the sheriff look at it?
Yeah. No, he hasn't looked at it. I haven't talked to him specifically about it. They came in and got a copy of the ordinance, and I don't know what he was
going to look at it?
I haven't talked to him yet.
I think you need to have the sheriff look at it.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's nobody parked there. That's not gonna. I mean, he can go and look and interpret it.
Yeah.
We're specific about fishing on bridges, but just on the town or on the county road, you can. There is a situation where you could park along the county road, according to the ordinance, from what I read here. So.
All right. Anything else, county highway system wise?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Have a great day.
I'm good.
Things must be getting better in the highway system if that's the kind of stuff we're discussing.
All right, Maxine, do you have anything else for us?
Yes. We need to appoint Rachel as alternate for Tom to attend the Railroad Authority meeting.
Move it.
Moved by Hanson.
Second.
Seconded by Dwayne. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Thanks, Rachel.
You're welcome.
That's all I've got.
Okay. Gary.
Need a quick exec for personnel and contract.
Okay.
Move it.
Moved by Sutton, seconded by Feldheim. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries. Needs 2 seconds with this thing. All right, we're back. Action as a result of exec, I would entertain a motion to hire Brian Barr effective July 31st as the new JDC supervisor.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Feldheim, seconded by Sutton. Any questions on that?
Did you want to add that to advertise for the assistant with that? Can that be in one motion?
Yes, let's roll it together
Set
if
the,
you guys are good with that.
Set the salary amount?
Yep, 42. And then for the new,
It says to be $17.53
is that what
to
it was?
advertise for the assistant.
Per hour.
Yep.
$17.53.
What was the effective date?
July
Step
31st, Sunday, this last
Okay.
one,
Okay.
at 42 for, and then to advertise for the assistant JDC supervisor at a salary of $17.53. Any questions or comments on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries. And then did we want to go ahead and talk about correctional officers needing 3 new ones to get up and running for the new jail?
Due to the need for training the new correctional officers, I'll make a motion we authorize advertising for the hiring of the 3 new correctional officers.
I'll second it.
Motion by Sutton, seconded by Hanson. Any questions or comments on that?
Do we put a start date of September 1st so we kind of know where we're at?
I think let them determine that.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries.
Do you want that effective September 1?
We're not going to put an effective date.
Okay.
Our
Just
goal was
authorize
to-
advertising 3 new positions.
Right.
Okay. And that was it, I think, for exec, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else for us, Gary?
No.
Max, did anything else come in while we were?
No, just clarification. Okay, Brian's going to be JDC supervisor at the 1753.
No,
No.
at 42,000.
42,000
Then we're advertising for a new JDC assistant.
to replace
Starting
his
at
old job.
1753.
JDC assistant, okay. At the 1753.
Correct.
Right on.
Okay.
Okay.
Currently what Brian is making, step 2.
Anything else from the commissioners in attendance, or anybody here? If not, we'll adjourn and then we'll go into our work session. So, did you have anything else for us, Max?
No.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move adjourn.
Moved by Fishback,
Second.
seconded by Sutton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Mr. Lovett, what have